What's going on, guys? Thank you so much for joining us on yet another episode for Walking Manifestator. I'm your host, Alexa Pena, and I am super excited to be here. I want to talk to you about a very important subject that I think most of us can agree has a huge impact on how we view our life. In this episode, we're going to talk about the victim mentality. I have three key points that I really want you to take away from today in order for you to truly elevate your life. And not only that, but also be able to understand how you can avoid giving your energy to people that really do not deserve it. Now, the first step that I really want to emphasize on, it's taking accountability and what you actually can control. So, I think that for most of us, we can agree that the victim mentality is something that is not beneficial, right? And I want to give you an example. Let's say you were somebody that grew up in very, very tight circumstances, whether that be financially, whether that be with, very limited amount of time with your family, whatever it might have been. You have now adopted a paradigm around that. We've talked about it in previous episodes. A paradigm is simply events that have happened in your life that have almost exclusive control over your habitual behavior, aka things that have molded you. Okay. The reason this is important is because for the majority of us, we have things that sometimes we like to pin on other people, whether that be the relationship isn't working the way that you want it, whether that be the friendship isn't working the way you want it, whether that be my boss is not acting the way that I need them to act to get promoted, whether that's putting the blame on anybody, excluding yourself. We as humans naturally find a way to blame others versus taking accountability for the things that we can control. I mentioned this before, and I really like how the concept of responsibility, if you separate that word, it's simply your ability to responsibility. This goes hand in hand with how you control your narrative. A lot of the times we tell ourselves this story, right? We are constantly having a conversation internally. Whether you're having that conversation to build you or whether you're having that conversation to make you doubt yourself, obviously, most of you are not aware. Most of us don't do it intentionally that, oh, I'm going to think about this to make myself doubt myself. But the reality is that subconsciously, we're having these conversations, and subconsciously, it's either going to play a positive or a negative impact in our life. So, when we talk about the first step of really allowing ourselves to break free from that victim mentality, it's to take accountability for the things that you can control. So if you're in a situation where your boss hasn't given you the promotion, instead of blaming your boss and thinking this person is the worst, they never reward me, I worked so hard, maybe the question you should ask is how can I improve my skill set in order for me to bring more value versus what can I take? And I think this is something that you really start molding that mindset shift geared around what value do I bring in order for you to stop really allowing that victim ego to aid you in that process of self sabotage, in that process of victimization, and that process of feeling sorry about yourself and therefore making everybody around you wrong. Now, the second point is going to be stop worrying about what you can't control. This is something that I think for most of us holds true day and day. So I used to have road rage. Okay. I used to be the type of person that if you cut me off, I am not proud to say this, but it's story time. So I will share this with you. If you cut me off, I remember there was this one car that at one point cut me off. I got so upset. I got a water bottle and I threw it at their windshield. I know, not my best moment. Okay. But I say this to you because whatever it is that you've done that maybe you have just thought about, like, yeah, that was not the best moment. This is stuff that you could have controlled, but you gave your energy away. You essentially allowed some external circumstance to take control over what it is in that moment you could have had control over. And I think that this is something that really allows you to better understand where exactly your mindset is, where exactly you're taking accountability for your actions. Because the moment you stop worrying about all the things that you can't control, you can shift your mindset to the things that you can control. Like, how early did you leave work, right? Or did you prepare enough time to ensure that you got there to your kids' soccer practice, or to your test that you were going to take? Whatever it might be. I think that for most of us, we have these innate thoughts within us that until we become aware of what narrative we're constantly feeding ourselves, it's going to play a factor in our external reality. I'll give you an example. If you're somebody that is constantly telling yourself, I am never going to be happy, I never had a good relationship in the past, I've never been paid more than X amount, everything that I try out just doesn't work out for me, the whole thing, you're simply giving more energy to that. You're simply reaffirming the thing that you are so desperately trying to steer away from. You're literally bringing that into existence. And we've talked about this in manifestations. Manifestations, a lot of people have like this it's like a 2-point view. A lot of people, either they really understand manifestations and they utilize them in a good positive way, and then other people, they take it to the far extreme and they think that by sitting in their room and chanting, the grass is green, the grass is green, it's magically going to be green. It doesn't work that way. Meditation with manifestations, with implementation, with your whole mindset is where you see the results, right? So if we're talking about manifesting, whether you're doing it for something positive or you're doing it for something negative, you're putting energy into that. Something that has really stuck with me is energy flows where attention goes. So if you start thinking about your eyebrows right now, before me saying that, you probably weren't thinking about it. But now, because I've mentioned it, you're thinking about your eyebrows. And that's something that now you've placed attention to. Therefore, you're bringing more awareness around it. The same thing goes for your manifestation. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because when you can start becoming familiar with the fact that there are certain things that you cannot control, there are certain things that are simply going to happen. Like tomorrow, we know that for the most part, unless something radical happens, we're going to have the sun come out, right? When it comes to you breathing, you don't have to think, I need to breathe every second. It just automatically happens. It's the exact same thing when it comes to stop worrying about things that you simply can't control. Start really focusing on what it is that you're placing attention to, what it is that you're constantly telling yourself internally, in order for you to really start gravitating toward, where can I improve? Where can I take accountability for the fact that it's not my parents' fault? It's not my significant other's fault. It's not my friend's fault. Where can I take accountability for the things that I can be better for? And therefore, now take away all the power that I've been giving to those negative thoughts and limiting beliefs. And now really start focusing on what value, what ideology can I start adopting in order for me to break free from that victim mentality. This is why I was sharing. There's so many people that find manifestations funny. They're like, oh my gosh, you expect me to believe that if I just sit here all day and think about something positive is going to happen? No, Jack. But the reality is that what manifestations do is that you are bringing something into your awareness, okay? Because you cannot argue with me the fact that anything that is once started with a thought. Anything, okay? Alexander Graham Bell, Steve Jobs, Bill Gates, everybody had something in their head that at one point people looked at as crazy, and therefore they brought it into existence in their mindset, in their imagination. And from there, they brought it into now their reality based off the work that they put in. But the reason it's important to notate is when you're manifesting something, when you're trying to start becoming aware of that victim mentality and breaking free from it in order for you to really embody a better version of you, you need to realize that manifestation is a tool that you're going to use to go hand in hand with the action that you're putting into something. Okay. I was recently having a conversation with somebody that was basically saying there is no way that you are going to be basically they were arguing the fact that they think that there's like a perfect relationship, right? A perfect relationship, a perfect utopia where you will never argue with this person and there is never going to be any friction and there is never going to be any conflict. Patrick David said it in one of his recent podcasts, and I actually was on his book. He said if your significant other is not arguing with you, more than likely they're arguing with somebody else. Now, here's the thing. There's a way to argue, okay? And maybe we can do a completely other episode on, conversations with your significant other or with people that you're looking to bring into your energy. But the reality is that when there's growth, when there's two different personalities or multiple personalities, there's going to be some friction, right? Now, the way that you go about that friction is based off your accountability, based off your responsibility, right? And this is where you becoming aware of what it is, yes, that you want. If you want this like perfect relationship with somebody that you're looking to, create something with, you need to be very honest with yourself that that person comes with baggage. You come with baggage. But if you can start working not only for yourself before you get into that relationship, but that person is working for themselves, when you become one and you're trying to really create something, both of you are going to take accountability for the fact that both of you had a paradigm. Both of you had, at one point or another, a victim mentality. Both of you, at one point, had different ideologies. But now you're working together to create this synergy that is going to be both actually communicating with one another in order for you to know you're taking accountability for the things that you can control and they're taking accountability for the things that they can control. This is extremely important. I think a lot of people now, they live in this like world where it's so easy, right, to go on social media and like just either find somebody to blame, like, oh, they have everything so easy for them. Everything is going perfect for them because look, I mean, they had great parents, or look, that girl's skinny, or that girl has, whatever, or that guy has a car. We find so many things in our day to day to play the victim. And not only that, but now with social media the way it is, we actually give more energy to those things that we are thinking of. So for instance, when we're playing the victim mentality versus trying to see where can I take accountability, where can I be a better partner for this person, we'll stick to the partner example. Instead of you worrying about how can you be better, you're already thinking there's somebody else better out there. Therefore, you're not working on yourself. Therefore, you're not working on what it is that you bring to the table. Therefore, you're not working on your accountability. So what's going to happen is you're at one point going to end that relationship. You're going to go in another situation. And because you never took accountability, because you are still in that victim mentality, you're going to go into another relationship and you're going to hope that that person is the perfect person for you. But in reality, you are the common denominator. You are the one that hasn't changed. You are the one with that victim mentality. And I think this is something that for me personally has taken a lot. And trust me, it's not something that just happens overnight. There's still days where I need to remind myself of this because, again, we're human, right? We have things that happen in our life. And sometimes it's easier to kind of steer into the negative side versus trying to take the high road and be positive. But every single time that you take the negative side, there's consequences. And this is where that victim mentality comes into play because you have nobody to blame but you. And I think that that is something that definitely has controversy because some people are going to say, like, you're going to tell me that I asked for this life. You're going to tell me that I asked. Yes. Okay. In a nutshell, my opinion, my belief system is that every single one of us has already predetermined the lessons that we were going to go through, the people that we were going to meet, the experiences that we were going to experience. Therefore, why not make the best of it? Even if it's a situation that you might find traumatizing, maybe you find very hard to deal with. Instead of allowing that to take you down and keep you in that energy, why not try and learn something from it? What's the opposite to that? You stay in that energy and you just allow it to consume you the rest of your life? Or on the flip side, you give this a try, and maybe it works for you. And maybe you release those limiting beliefs, that victim mentality, and you start growing. Now, the third point I want to finish off with is I like to really embody the manifestation side of things because it allows me to stay connected to my higher self. I call it higher self. A lot of people identify with that, whatever you want to call it, but with the version of you that is looking beyond the weeds right now, looking at the whole angle versus looking at what is right in front of you. When it comes to manifestations, a lot of people think it's just sitting in your room, thinking about something positive, and everything's going to happen. The reality is that you can be the hardest worker, okay, and work, over 80 hours a week. And you're thinking, I'm going to become rich. And I'm thinking that I'm going to create the life of abundance that I want. But if that was the case, why is there so many people that are broke in this country? Why is there so many people that are broke, not able to even do the things that they have been working for so hardly for? And at the end of the day, they think that by working more, they're going to attract more abundance and therefore they're going to eventually get out of this rabbit hole. The reality is it doesn't work that way. Why? Because the mindset aspect hasn't been worked on. They believe by working more, working harder is going to bring more abundance into their life. But in reality, that's where the mindset and the manifestation comes into play. Because I can sit here and get in the right mindset and say, today's going to be a great day. I am the luckiest person alive. I am so blessed. I'm surrounded by abundance. I am a walking manifestator. I am whatever it is that comes into your energy that you want to speak that day, positive or negative. Remember, is what's going to get you in that right center of inspiration in order for you to take inspired action. That's extremely important in this whole manifestation journey. If there's anything you take away from this podcast, it's to be in the right mindset in order for you to allow yourself to break free from that victim mentality, in order for you to actually take accountability and for you to be able to have responsibility and that responsibility over your actions. So I want to share with you a few things that I personally like to really tell myself. It varies. Again, I change them up, but a few things that have really been helping me recently. I've always said I'm a walking manifestator. Me and my son, every time when I'm taking him to school, that's one of the things that we actually would always say, which is kind of where I got inspiration for the show. And walking manifestator to me symbolizes that you are manifesting constantly. And that is something that for us, it resonates. I feel this energy when I speak that into existence. I am a walking manifestator, but feel free to fill in that blank. Another thing is, I always ask for courage. I ask for courage to tackle on that day with as much devotion and energy and passion as possible. Courage to tackle on the things that make me uncomfortable. Courage to tackle on the things that are going to help me grow. So I always say I am courage. Another thing is I am wisdom. Wisdom to be able to make sure that I am bringing the best approach to whatever situation I am going to encounter in order for me to truly be able to tackle that on from a knowledge-based perspective. I also like to ask for tolerance to ensure that I can really understand other perspectives. You see, there's always your side, my side, and then the right side, right? In an argument or in a situation, there's always different personalities, there's different points of view. Tolerance allows you to understand that it doesn't have to just be the way that you assume it should be. There's different approaches, there's different mindsets, there's different paradigms. Therefore, tolerance will allow you to truly be more calm and understand that it doesn't have to just be your way. So I am tolerance is something that really helps me just become more aware of what I am looking to tap into. I am understanding. So I ask for understanding because, again, once we're talking about courage, wisdom, tolerance, understanding allows you to really go from a mindset of I forgive you to I understand you. I want to be able to understand those perspectives that, again, go hand in hand with tolerance, but at the same time, understanding that things don't have to go the way that you want them to go. Just because that's your idea of what should happen doesn't mean that that's what's happening in that person's world. You see, sometimes we look at a person and we see how they react and you're like, wow, I can't believe they acted that way. But you don't know the whole story. And I think that that's something that as society, we are very quick to put this like whole story and you don't even know what's going on. Like you can see this person walk by in front of you with like Louis Vuitton purse, Prada shoes, nice designer glasses. And then you look at their bank account and they have nothing, like literally nothing. Or they're driving a nice vehicle, nice little Audi down the street, and they have nothing in their savings account. We don't know. We don't know what really is going on in that person's life. And honestly, it's not our business. It's their life. And understanding allows you to really dial it back to, okay, let me focus about what it is that I'm looking to achieve this day in order for me to really grow and become a better version of me. And the last one is love. Love is something that a lot of people think it's like a cliche, but on the next episode, we're going to talk about the overall human needs. There's 6 human needs. It's going to be inspired by Maslow's principles. He basically has talked about how there's just different things that a person needs, and it's a pyramid of needs. And basically, the thing with love is that love is something that a lot of people have always said it's like a thin line between love and hate, right? Because it's an emotion that is very intense. When you love somebody, when you love something, when you love some place, it's very dear to you. Now, love is also something that you can utilize to show more compassion for other people that you really don't know what they're going through. You see, a lot of people nowadays, they like to talk really negatively about people that maybe sometimes aren't dressed the nicest, or maybe a girl that doesn't have her makeup done, or maybe a girl that has like pimples going on, or maybe a girl that looks a little bit chubby, or maybe a guy that looks a little bit chubbier. I mean, we just put so much feedback out there that social media has made us, we've given it that power. So let me be very clear about that. But social media has this like influence, and you're giving your attention to things that are not really helping you grow. And I think love is that thing that, how can you love anybody if you don't love yourself? And I think that that has been one of the biggest things that have helped me break free from that victim mentality. Again, it's a constant effort. It's not something that I'm just going to wave this wand and you will never have victim mentality again. No. And whoever's telling you that they have no insecurities, that they have nothing that they're worried about, that they have no fears, is a liar, and they're looking at you in the face and lying to you. Because for as long as you are a human, this is things that we have in our existence, in our DNA. So with that being said, remember, become conscious of the things that you're looking to really embody, and stop focusing on the things that you are feeling attacked by, and start seeing how you can improve. How can you improve your skill level? How can you become a better person? How can you become that person that's accountable in order for you to break free from that limiting mindset and that victim mentality? With that being said, I want to thank you so much for joining us on another episode. It means the world to have you guys tuning in. And if there is anything in particular that you guys would like to cover, as always, feel free to send us a message or leave a comment down below if you're watching this on YouTube. And I want to send you many blessings. And the last thing is, remember to embody the walking manifestator that you are. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.